Jill Biden may well end up as First Lady of the United States. Despite those lofty aspirations, however, she had a surprisingly modest upbringing and a truly fascinating life. From her false start at love to her life as Second Lady, this is the dramatic transformation of Jill Biden. Jill Biden's childhood appears to have been a happy one, if a little wild. Born Jill Jacobs, the future educator had a self-proclaimed rebellious streak in her younger years and would often sneak out of the house in the middle of the night. Unable to afford a membership at a popular local swim club, Jill and her friend would often climb the fence for a midnight swim on summer nights. She later told the Philadelphia Inquirer, "I can't even believe that I did it." While she admits that she was kind of rebellious, as a youth, she apparently never caused any real harm, and has gone on record as saying that her particular brand of rebellion was fairly innocent. Mostly, it appears that her transgressions were limited to pulling pranks and, ironically enough, occasionally sneaking out of school. Jill Biden may have been a bit of a rebel as a child, but she was also a leader who looked out for her loved ones. The oldest of 5 girls, Jill established herself as the protector at a young age. When a neighborhood bully wouldn't leave her younger sister alone, she even showed up at his house and punched him in the face, which, if nothing else, earned her father's respect. Her sister, Bonnie Jacobs, told the Philadelphia Inquirer that the future Dr. Biden was not just a leader, but a role model too. Liz Leonard, Jill's high school friend and classmate, also recalled that she had been a leader on campus, that she was popular, and that she often involved herself with various activities. Leonard explained, "She was always willing to help with our whole class." Jill Biden is known for her strong work ethic and her commitment to her career, and it all started when she was still in her teens. She got her first job when she was just 15 years old. Jill later explained her desire to work in an interview with Vogue, saying, "From an early age, I knew I wanted my own money, my own identity, and my own career." She later told New Jersey Monthly that she held down several different after-school jobs while she was growing up, including 2 summers working at an Ocean City, New Jersey eatery called Chris's Seafood Restaurant, a job that she admitted to loving. Jill also did some modeling work for a local agency, although she never really considered herself a model, having only done a few small jobs for very little pay. As hard as it is to imagine Jill Biden with anyone other than Joe, the former vice president is actually her second husband. She was just 18 years old and a student at the University of Delaware when she married Bill Stevenson, who played for the school's football team. The marriage lasted only 5 years, ending in a divorce that left Jill a little cynical about falling in love again. In her 2019 memoir, she wrote, "I let go of fairy tale endings." The divorce was far from amicable, too. Decades after the split, Stevenson told the Daily Mail that the marriage ended because his wife and Joe Biden were having an affair. According to the Bidens, however, Stevenson's story is false, and contrary to Stevenson's claim, they did not meet until 1975, after the couple had separated and the divorce was nearly finalized. Jill would go on to meet Joe Biden on a blind date, 3 years after tragedy struck his family. Joe's first wife and their 1-year-old daughter died in a car accident in 1972. His sons Hunter and Beau miraculously survived the crash. It was Joe's brother who introduced the future couple. As the future Mrs. Biden recounted to Vogue of their first encounter, "I was a senior in college and I had been dating guys in jeans and clogs and t-shirts. He came to the door and he had a sport coat and loafers, and I thought, God, this is never going to work. Not in a million years." Joe was also 9 years older than Jill, but that didn't stop them from forming a connection. She said, "But we went out to see A Man and a Woman at the movie theater in Philadelphia, and we really hit it off. When we came home, he shook my hand goodnight. I went upstairs and called my mother at 1 a.m. and said, 'Mom, I finally met a gentleman.' They have been married for over 40 years. After Jill fell in love with Joe and married him, she became a stepmother to his 2 sons, Hunter and Beau. While she may not have been their biological mother, however, Jill was always accepted in the Biden family. In an interview with the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, she explained that she never asked Hunter and Beau to call her mom, but that it was their choice to do so. She said, "They wanted our family to be a whole, complete family. That's how the kids wanted to define it." Joe wrote in his 2007 memoir that the transition happened slowly over time. He said that he and his wife never discussed calling her mom, but that one day he noticed they were doing so anyway, while referring to his first wife and their mother as Mommy. Joe noted, "I'm sort of used to being in charge, but in truth it was Jill and the boys who shaped the contours of our remade family." In mid-August, Jill Biden tweeted, teaching is not what I do, it's who I am. Her decades-long career as a teacher is a testament to that statement, as is her commitment to keep teaching, even if her husband is elected president. When asked if she'd keep teaching should Joe enter the White House in 2021, Dr. Biden told CBS News,
"I hope so. Really? I would love to."
Biden, who is actually Dr. Biden, holds a bachelor's degree, 2 master's degrees, and a doctorate. She taught in public schools for 13 years, teaching English and acting as a reading specialist. She also taught at Delaware Technical Community College and Northern Virginia Community College, where she held a job during her husband's time in the White House as vice president. Speaking about her work in community colleges, Biden told the News Journal, "It sounds so trite to say I make a difference, but I really feel, especially in a community college, I can make a difference." It seems like Jill Biden's passion for education would be something that she would want to carry into the White House. In her interview with CBS News, she confirmed that this is very much the case.
If we get to the White House, I'm going to continue to teach. It's important. And I want people to value teachers and know their contribution.
Biden is part of the National Education Association, and in 2010, she hosted the White House Summit on Community Colleges to shine a spotlight on community colleges' role in developing America's workforce. Media outlets have speculated that if her husband wins the election, it's likely that Dr. Biden will champion a policy of free community college education. While many people are familiar with Joe Biden's 2020 presidential campaign, many don't realize that his 2020 bid for president was the 3rd time he ran for the office. He first announced his candidacy for president in 1987 and again in 2007. It was Jill Biden who pushed her husband to run for the 2nd time. She was so upset after George W. Bush was reelected to the presidency in 2004 that she urged her husband to run. She explained to Vogue that her husband had wanted to run several times in the years leading up to the 2008 presidential election, and that many people tried to get him to run in 2004, but that she had put her foot down at the time. When Bush won that election, however, Biden was despondent that things would be the same for the next 4 years, and told her husband he needed to make a change in America. While Joe ended up withdrawing from the race in the 2008 election, the campaign wasn't a wasted one, as he was named Barack Obama's running mate and subsequently became vice president. After her husband became vice president, Jill Biden carried on teaching. In order to cause as little disruption as possible at work, however, she remained quiet as she possibly could about her identity. Secret Service agents posed as college students when they accompanied her to her job at Northern Virginia Community College, where she was known as Dr. B. Biden also defended a dissertation under her maiden name so as not to attract attention. Nor did Biden want to be defined by her relationship to the vice president, a belief she had held since he was a senator. She once told the News Journal that when students asked about her last name, she would only admit to being related to Joe, but wouldn't mention being his wife. She said, "For me, I'm their English teacher, and I want it to stay that way." Despite her background in education, Jill Biden has never considered herself to be much of a public speaker. Nonetheless, being comfortable talking in front of an audience is just one of the things she had to get used to as the Second Lady of the United States. In addition, being the wife of the Vice President meant getting used to a whole new level of fame. She later told the Atlanta Journal-Constitution that she came at it incrementally and that she was motivated after recognizing that, as the Second Lady, she had a platform that she couldn't afford to waste. While Biden was a little unsure at the beginning, as she lacked confidence in public speaking, she decided the risk was worth it and has since become a formidable speaker. As well as Beau and Hunter, the Bidens have a daughter together named Ashley and count 6 grandchildren among their number 2. Tragically, however, Beau passed away from brain cancer in 2015 at the age of 46. Jill Biden told People magazine, "It was totally shattering. My life changed in an instant. All during his illness, I truly believed that he was going to live, up until the moment that he closed his eyes, and I just never gave up hope."
1% of people who have this brain cancer make it. And we thought, why can't Beau be that one?
Biden has subsequently written about the shattering loss in her book, Where the Light Enters. She writes, "I feel like a piece of china that's been glued back together again. The cracks may be imperceptible, but they're there." On top of her long and successful career as an educator, Jill Biden is also a best-selling author. In addition to being the author of the best-selling memoir, she is also the author of a children's book, Don't Forget, God Bless Our Troops. Biden also wrote a children's book about her husband called Joey, The Story of Joe Biden.
Well, everybody sees Joe, these young children see Joe on TV, and I want them to know Joe as a child.
While her children's books are just the sort of patriotic stories you would expect the former Second Lady of the United States to pen, her memoir isn't political at all. Instead, Biden described it to People magazine as the story of how we built and rebuilt our family. The book also deals with her ongoing grief following the tragic death of her son, Beau Biden. She writes, "Sometimes I feel like I've forgotten how to be the mom after the death of my son. I worry about my children worrying about me, feeling like they need to be the strong ones. It's not the right order of things. How can I be there for my children when I feel so lost?" Despite her grief, it's clear Jill Biden strives to be the best mother and wife she can be for her family. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more list videos about your favorite stuff are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.